Richard Feynman never tried to motivate people with sweet words. He didn't believe in comfort learning. His advice on learning was honest, sometimes uncomfortable, and often ignored. He believed most people don't actually want to learn. They want to feel educated. And those two things are very different. Feynman noticed early that education systems reward repetition, not understanding. Students memorize formulas, definitions, and procedures, but never ask why they work. They pass exams, earn degrees, and still don't truly know anything. To Feynman, this was dangerous. A mind filled with memorized answers, but no understanding is easy to fool. His advice was simple, but brutal. If you cannot explain something in plain language, you do not understand it. No exceptions. Fancy words, complicated explanations, and long theories often hide ignorance. Real understanding feels simple, even when the idea itself is deep. Feynman believed that learning begins the moment you admit you don't know. Pretending to know is the enemy. Many people are afraid of saying, "I don't understand," because they want to look smart. Feynman didn't care how he looked. He cared about what was true. That honesty made him one of the greatest thinkers of all time. He warned that the biggest problem in learning is self-deception. Humans are experts at fooling themselves. We read something once and think we understand it. We hear an explanation and feel satisfied. But feeling satisfied is not proof of understanding. Only the ability to rebuild the idea from scratch proves learning. Feynman's advice was to take ideas apart like machines. Remove the labels. Ignore the textbook language. Ask what is actually happening. When you strip away the words, what remains? If nothing remains, then you never understood it in the first place. He also believed learning should be active, not passive. Reading alone is not learning. Listening alone is not learning. Learning happens when you struggle with ideas, when you make mistakes, when you try to explain something and fail. Confusion is not a sign of weakness. It is evidence that your brain is working. Feynman criticized how people worship authority in education. Just because a teacher says something does not make it true. Just because a book is famous does not make it correct. Reality is the final judge. Experiments matter more than opinions. Evidence matters more than reputation. One of his most honest beliefs was that intelligence is not special. Genius is not magic. It is curiosity, patience, and refusal to accept shallow answers. Anyone willing to think deeply can understand difficult things. Most people simply choose not, because deep thinking requires effort. Feynman also believed that joy is essential to learning. If learning feels like punishment, it won't last. He learned because he loved discovering how things worked. That love gave him energy. Without curiosity, learning becomes mechanical and fragile. He warned against learning for status. Learning to impress others destroys understanding. When your goal is approval, you stop asking honest questions. You avoid confusion. You avoid mistakes. And in avoiding those things, you avoid learning itself. Another piece of his advice was to always connect ideas to reality. Knowledge that cannot be applied is incomplete. If a concept does not change how you see the world, you probably haven't understood it yet. Real learning reshapes perception. Feynman respected simplicity. He believed nature is not complicated. Our explanations are. When something feels overly complex, it is often poorly understood. The goal of learning is not to add complexity, but to remove it. He also warned that memorization without understanding creates false confidence. People become certain without reason. They defend ideas they don't understand. This is how bad science, bad decisions, and bad thinking spread. Feynman's learning philosophy demanded humility. You must accept being wrong. You must accept confusion. You must accept that understanding takes time. There are no shortcuts. Anyone promising easy learning is selling comfort, not truth. His advice can feel harsh, but it is freeing. When you stop pretending, learning becomes honest. When you stop chasing approval, curiosity returns. When you stop memorizing, understanding grows. Richard Feynman didn't want students who repeated answers. He wanted thinkers who questioned them. He didn't want perfect students. He wanted honest ones. If you follow his advice, learning becomes less about exams and more about reality. Less about memory and more about meaning. Less about appearing smart and more about being correct. That is Richard Feynman's brutally honest advice on learning. And once you accept it, you can never learn the same way again.